Respected brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Inshallah, a few minutes, I guess, just to, as the brother just mentioned, touching upon the situation in Palestine. We know, first of all, today is actually the day that Imam Khomeini rahmatullah ta'ala alayhi left behind to remember the whole Palestinian and Israeli conflict. And this becomes even more relevant considering that nowadays the situation is escalating and getting even worse. And this really leaves the human being asking the question, I see what's happening, but what can I do to fix things? If not fix things, then to make myself aware, then make others aware around me. No doubt, the first, I think, goal, or at least responsibility that everybody has is to himself being aware. I think maybe one of the biggest problems with problems going around in the world is that now we're not doing anything. We first haven't even initially, took that icing, the initiative in just knowing what's happening. I think a lot of us, including myself, we have not done enough to find out about the details of what's actually going on. I remember to be honest with you, all you need to do is look at the pictures. One of the most heartbreaking things are the pictures that you have on social networks. I saw one picture of a child actually who died from fear. He didn't even die because he got hit. You'll see him, his eyes would be closed. You can tell he was perhaps crying and his hands were, in a fist-like position. And he died from fear. Because when they really tell you pictures say 1,000 words, that quote really has a lot of truth to it. So just like any other battle, just like any other event in the world, there needs to be a level of awareness about it. I can say, alhamdulillah, one of the things that I picked up from my dad was to watch news. You'd sleep, you hear the news being played. You wake up, you hear the news. You're eating news, 24/7 news. To a certain extent, I think a lot of you can relate with this. You're sleeping, you hear the news. Sometimes you even got to go outside the room and tell them, "Can you please lower the TV, it's kind of getting loud." But without us even realizing it, that environment really pokes you to try to watch news for a little bit of the day. Because sometimes we can get involved, or at least get distracted with the most petty of things. I already mentioned to you that one girl who started sighing in my math class, and I was like, "What's going on?" She's looking at the phone, and I thought maybe she was following the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, and she just lost in a game of Tetris. So when these little things get us disappointed, it really leaves a lot to be desired and a lot to be asked about where are our priorities. So I think that first level is to ask the question, have I done enough reading? Articles are replete, right? And we'll be surprised about who's actually fighting on the other side. I don't want to go into much detail. I have a flight back to America. But we'll be surprised who exactly is the attacker and who's the one being attacked. How certain countries who are supporting a country which is attacking really haven't left much to sugarcoat. But when you read, you really begin to see things. A lot of times, you'll even notice people from the other sect, they come and they tell their followers, don't even talk to the Shia, because they're lying. You'll notice this thing. They use this whole notion of taqiyya. Don't talk to them, because even if they say something that makes sense, they're lying, right? So look at the whole game that they've orchestrated and engineered. That even if we do say something that makes sense, at that point, and it starts becoming effective, even at that point they say, you can't really take what they're saying because they're lying, they're doing taqiyya. So he's not going to tell you what he really believes in. This is really an effort to prevent them and shun them away from being exposed to the truth. The world wants us to be busy with the things that society gives us, with what media tells you. Imam Khomeini has a powerful line. He says, if the West is ever satisfied with me, I know I'm doing something wrong. He makes a very nice point. So if you want to know the truth, a lot of times certain satellite channels, you don't know which one to listen to Fox News and flip it upside down, and you'll know it's the truth. I saw when I just said Fox News, some eyebrows were raised. Listen to it, flip it upside down, and we'll see what's really happening. So they want to make it all gray. There's a black and white. The Palestinian-Israeli issue specifically today, not to go into much detail, is really an issue that, number one, we should be aware of on the first level, and number two, do what we can to expose it and speak about it. And very little needs to be said about the opportunities to expose it, be it the social networks, be it the messaging systems that, Facebook, Twitter, WhatsApp, all these different things. Besides posting a video, which is hilarious, you'll be very surprised about the trending videos that tend to spread, right? Some of the most, with all honesty, petty videos, and you'll see people posting it and supporting it, and you gotta watch this. But when there are children being killed around the world, it's not something that's perhaps trending. So on the first level, hopefully, inshallah, being aware, and on the second level, doing what we can, because we know there are three levels of fixing things. And I mentioned this last week in Salat al-Jum'ah. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says, فَلْيُغَيِّرْهُ بِلِسَانِهِ, or first بِيَدِهِ. He who saw evil from you, let him try to change it with his hand. That's the highest level. I'm not telling you to go pick up the AK-47 and go to Gaza, but that's the highest level. You'll notice when you see somebody doing something wrong, the highest level is to stop him, to push him away. If you can't do that, فَإِنْ لَمْ يَسْتَطِعْ Rasulullah says, فَبِلِسَانِهِ, then with his tongue, at least speak out against it. And today you can speak out in a number of ways, be it a text message, be it WhatsApp, be it Facebook, be it I don't know, does MySpace still exist? It's extinct with the dinosaurs, huh? So be it MySpace or be it whatever it may be, social networks, right? بيده or بلسانه, number two, and then number three, فإن لم يستطع فبقلبه, right? And if he can't do that, then with his heart, وذلك أضعف الإيمان, and that is the weakest level of faith. Could you imagine? The weakest level is to just be aware. All of this level we're speaking about is the weakest. It's the faintest level. He said فبقلبه, with his heart. And that's that's the weakest. Therefore, at least at the lowest level, let me not accept what's going on. Now somebody say, I don't accept it. Everybody here, no doubt, does not accept what's happening in Palestine. Yet what is there? There's a level of, we're apathetic towards it, right? So we see it happening and we really don't feel the pain. Because if we can't empathize, right, we sympathize. We can't empathize. We don't know how it feels to get our house bombed, right? We don't know how it feels to have men with guns coming at us and our mothers and hitting us. We don't know how it feels to see our brother dying simply because out of fear. We don't know how it feels to have rocks in your pockets while a tank is facing you and that's what you have to fight him. We don't know how these things feel. Therefore we can't empathize, therefore at least let us sympathize. And that's the lowest level. How do I sympathize? By feeling the pain. And now that's a level, that's an emotional level. Yeah, that's good, that's excellent. But keeping it in the heart is not enough. All of us in this room, we have it in the heart. Alhamdulillah. And that's great. At least we're not careless about it, right? But hopefully, inshallah, we can take it out of the heart. Because on Yawm al-Qiyamah, Allah Azza wa Jalla is not going to ask you, okay, Billy John, anybody named Billy John here? Okay. Billy John, what was in your heart while the Israeli conflict was going on? Allah Azza wa Jalla perhaps isn't going to be too interested in what was in the heart. No doubt, right? إِلَّا مَنْ أَتَى اللَّهَ بِقَلْبٍ سَلِيمٍ, except the one who came to Allah with a sound heart. That's vital. But Allah is going to say, what did you do to take things out of your heart? Let us not keep things in our heart, because then we're just making ourselves, right, feel the pain. Allah Azza wa Jalla wants us to keep it in the heart, and it is in the heart, and also take it out so that we can let others who don't have this pain feel the pain, and that they'll make others aware. And before you know it, you've spread, the love to others, and that's how revolutions start. The revolution in Egypt started, really, if you look at it with Facebook. I mentioned to you last week that one guy who named his child Facebook. I mean, that goes to show how strong social networks can be. I'm sure all of us have a Facebook here, all of us have a social network, all of us have emails. Let's hopefully, inshallah, try to trend these things which bring awareness, and just like we're supporting the oppressed today, tomorrow our countries may be oppressed. And on Yawm al-Qiyamah, when we are those who oppressed others, we all have sins, we've oppressed ourselves, we perhaps, hopefully not, but have oppressed others. Allah says, you remembered the oppressed, therefore today you were an oppressor and you oppressed yourself, I'm going to give victory to you as well. Remember the mazloom, because one day you'll be a mazloom. May Allah Azza wa Jal allow us to take into consideration the hatred going around into the world, regardless of be him a Sunni, be him a Shi'i. Blood is red in the body of a Hindu, in the body of a Jew, in the body of a Buddhist, in the body of an atheist. Blood is blood, made of the same material, and it's the source of life. Therefore, whenever we see blood on the floor, let us not ask the question, is this Bahraini blood, is this Sunni blood, is this Shi'i blood? Blood is blood. And if an oppressed person has blood dripping from him, it's my solution or my role or responsibility to put a bandage on it. Because if I don't put a bandage on his wound when it's bleeding, why do I expect him to put a bandage on mine when I am bleeding? Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. اللهم انصر الإسلام والمسلمين واخذل الكفر والمنافقين وأيد علماءنا العاملين بحق محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين.